Welcome to my tiny workplace. This is my small shop. It's about 15 feet by 8 feet, approximately 5 meters by 2.5 meters, and it is very small. That is why I'm making this video, because I figured some of the innovative steps that I've taken to make use of the lack of space that I have may be helpful to some of you that have small shops of your own. So let me do a quick 360 of the shop and let you see how I have everything laid out. In the left corner here, I have my hand tool area, which is my primary workspace. Then I have a drill press and a bandsaw, which I use for resawing wood. Next to that, I have my lathe, and then I have all my clamps on the wall behind the lathe. Next to the lathe, I have a small grindstone, which I use for sharpening my lathing tools. I'll get into that a little bit later. Then I have a scroll bandsaw and an auxiliary workbench that has a parrot vise attached to one side of it. I have all my specialty planes and my braces and bits hanging above it and behind it. And then on the right side, I have built in a router table, which I will also show you. In the hand tool area, I have my panel saws and my Japanese saws on the wall with all my marking and measuring tools below it. Then I have in front of me 2 racks, one for chisels and the other for files and also assorted chisels. And then above that, I have a plane till for specialty planes with a little drawer underneath for attachments. And then next to that, I have all my hand saws, my back saw till. Now underneath the bench, I have a drawer where I keep all of my bench planes. Since the bench planes are quite heavy, I designed a very long drawer that I can pull out without any fear of having it fall on the floor. And I also put ball bearings underneath it that enables it to pull out very, very smoothly. One of the things I spent a lot of time thinking about was how to position each of my big machines, like my drill press and this bandsaw here. If you look closely, the bandsaw is in line with the drill press so that none of the wood will interfere or hit the drill press as I'm feeding it through. That means that the only restriction I have is the distance that the bandsaw is away from the wall. In my case, it's about 2.5 feet or 50 centimeters. So I can flip the board around and cut something about 4 feet long, but that's about it. I have placed the table high enough though so that wood will go over the lathe when I'm cutting it. Now my lathe I have situated so that I can stand in this area right here and turn whatever I need to. The longest thing I usually turn are table legs, which as you can see are about this long, so I really don't need to get back into the corner there where I can't reach, so there's no problem. The grindstone I use for sharpening my lathe tools can be used where it is, or I can move it over to my other bench and clamp it down with the end vise so that it doesn't move when I'm using it. Underneath my lathe, I have my chop saw on a movable cart. And what about dust collection? Well, I have a hose attached to the ceiling that I can pull down like this, and I can attach to the chop saw or any other piece of equipment that I have in my shop. That's the advantage of having a small shop. So I can just pull it over and attach it to my router table here, or I can drag it over and attach it to the scroll bandsaw. No problem. Next, I have my auxiliary bench with shelves underneath for storage. On the left side, I have this parrot vise, which can rotate any direction, and I can actually take it off and put it on its side like this. Haven't really used this yet, but I just got it, and I'm looking forward to taking advantage of that feature. And I made sure that the base doesn't interfere with any wood that I might be cutting on the scroll bandsaw. And on the right side of the bench, I have a built-in router table that lifts up like this, which allows me access to the router itself, to the screw that I can undo and put in new bits. I've also positioned the head of the router such that I have a pretty good outfeed space. I usually only do molding on the router table, so I have positioned the table of the scroll bandsaw high enough that that wood will slide right underneath it when I'm cutting. So again, there's no problem there. And now it's on to my favorite feature, my sharpening station. This was always on top of my auxiliary bench and I never had any room to use it. So I built this drawer-like system that pulls out. I have all my jigs in the back of it, and then I can just push it in and secure it with this peg through the table so that I can sharpen on it and not have it move about when I'm trying to sharpen planes or chisels or whatever. I love this. Having it out of the way is such a blessing. Attached to the wall behind my hand tool bench is this light, which can be moved all over. The articulation is great for getting it anywhere I need to. And my wood I store next to the bandsaw against the wall there. I have enough room for about 8 12-foot boards, but I just can't store a lot of it inside. And if I don't have enough room to work on something inside, I have this Moravian bench that I built that can be used instead. That's it. Thanks for watching.